This is GARIS, Masculist, MGTOW, flyers. That is 2 3-page essays on the themes of masculism and MGTOW. Written and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de GARIS. This is flyer number 40, entitled After the Gender Dust Settles. Description. This flyer paints a picture of society after the MGTOW/masculists feel that they have gotten what they wanted from society, where women accept that men outperform women, that the genii are males, and women accept that men should have equal rights with women. Flyer itself. After the gender dust settles. I've been giving more thought lately to what society will be like after the sex war is over, and the MGTOW/masculists feel that they have gotten what they wanted, that is, after the gender dust has settled. I wonder what women will be like in such a world. What will their status be? How will they react with men? This flyer, attempts to answer these questions. I see the following scenario. MGTOW/masculist ideas grow and grow. They become part of collective social consciousness, and everyone has heard of them and has some idea of what they are. Women have learned that they have to be FIPs, financially independent persons. They know that if they aren't, then they will be shunned by society and of course by men. In the post-gender war era, society will be totally anti-fluffy slavery. Today's man-slaving fluffy will be totally ostracized, even by other women. The birth rate crash will have stopped, because the gender politicians, after a string of assassinations, have made the gender laws men fair. The divorce courts have been made reasonable places for men. Alimony has been thrown out. All women are FIPs, and high school girls take calculus and the sciences to a far higher degree than in earlier decades, knowing that if they don't, they will be labelled future fluffies. Custody of the kids is joint by default. Only in exceptional cases is custody of the kids given to only one of the parents. Divorcing parents are expected to live near each other, share a modest apartment, and alternate in the same house, one living in the apartment while the other lives in the house with the kids, and the following week they swap places. So divorce is reasonable for both sexes. A similar story holds for the legal right to reject parenthood. Women have had a legal right to reject maternity, the MARA equals maternity rejection right, since the 70s, usually called the abortion right. Once the sex war was won, men got their precious paternity rejection right, so that their lives would not be ruined by an unwanted, often accidentally engineered by the woman, pregnancy. The criminal justice courts created strict guidelines to punish men and women equally for identical crimes. Women were not let off the hook and were expected to take responsibility for their own lives. It was probably that is, women being seen as responsible adults, taking responsibility for their own lives, that was the biggest victory for men in the sex war. Society really turned against fluffies, treating them like irresponsible children and scorning them, pushing them to grow up and behave as adults. Those women who didn't were shunned by both sexes. So men got their equal rights and their equal obligations. But what was the residue? What was left over re the status of women? I think that they lost their fairy story belief in the superiority of women from the feminazi period. The MGTOW/masculists did far too good a job of persuading society that men outperform women on virtually all counts. Nearly everyone now knows that the genii are males, that the most achieving sex is male, that most of the doers and pioneers are male. Men have always had greater prestige in society in all cultures. All cultures value boy babies more than girl babies because they know from long experience that a boy baby is more likely to grow up to be a highly valuable member of the culture than a girl baby. All cultures know that, and the post-gender war culture is no exception to that eon-long reality. After the gender dust settles, women have lost their arrogance. They know that they cannot compete with men at the top end of the scale in just about any field. Their status lowered when the sex bots in artificial wombs were invented. Women lost their vagina and womb monopolies after that and had to compete with men, sexing their toys and growing their own kids. They were forced to develop their personalities and their minds, and they did that, but still, they could not compete with men at the top end of the scale. In time, women gradually, reluctantly admitted that men were the superior sex, that the genii were male. They didn't have much choice, since the media was full of male superiority science, showing all the facts such as greater male variance, GMV, and higher testosterone levels in men that give men such much greater aggressive and persistence levels, leading to greater achievement levels. For most people, male or female, ability levels overlap for the most part, so the GMV phenomenon doesn't matter much. With girls socialized by their parents to be FIPs, women's self-images became more self-confident, as they felt they had more control of their lives and felt less need to find some manslave to parasite upon. They stopped hearing from their mothers that they had to get a man to pay the bills. But at the top end of the performance scale, over the whole population, over the millions and millions of people, everyone admitted the top scorers, the most influential and valuable members of society, are male. It's still a man's world, a patriarchy in the genetic sense. Men are biologically, genetically destined to be the dominant sex in performance terms, and society, particularly women, admit this in the post-gender war era and just live with it. They don't have much choice. Any female who challenges the new status quo is drowned with scientific studies showing her she is wrong. Such women tend to be iscienites anyway. An iscient is a person who's ignorant of science, who cannot reason scientifically. It's a word analogous to words like illiterate or innumerate. Illiterate can't read, innumerate can't calculate, iscient can't think scientifically. Such women tend to be iscienites anyway, so it's probably more by social pressure from other females that she soon learns to shut up and gets on with her life, probably alone if she has fluffy inclinations, given that men so despise such females. Each year as the Nobel Prize and Abel Prize, that's maths, winners are announced, if there happens to be the rare woman among them, then people take notice due to its rarity. Society recognizes that the genii are males, that the high flyers are male, that the most prestigious members of the culture are male. It's just a fact of life. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo de GARIS. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. YouTube channel name de GARIS, Masculist, MGTOW, Flyers. Ciao.